Sure. Hello, hello. Yep. They can hear us. Cool. Cool to stay in school. All right, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Welcome to episode 339 of the Center Ring Esports podcast presented by Alt. And yes, you guessed it. This is going to be the best episode ever. Not only because we have Yikes of the Week on a Wednesday, but we also have a lot of Valorant news to get to, so it's everyone's favorite segment, ValoRANTing, as well as a packed e-news as well. But before we get to any of that, let me tell you about the show's sponsor in Alt Esports. Ladies and gentlemen, the birthday of the greatest country in the world is just around the corner. July 4th, in case you didn't know. Independence Day. What do you think about when I say freedom? You think the number one NA team in Valorant, Sentinels. Do you know who their official clothing sponsor is? You guessed it. It's Alt Esports. So this is what you need to do to represent not only esports, but represent America. You go to altesports.com, you buy yourself some Sentinel shirt, and you be the biggest goddamn patriot known to man. You go to altesports.com, pick yourself up a Sentinels, you represent this country, you flag, you fly the flag, and you represent it well, okay? You could have been like the number 2 losers and buy like a $1,200 watch. You know, you could have done that. Or you could have represented winners and go to altesports.com and pick yourself up some merch. Why don't you?
Hey, it's NBK, and you're here listening to the Center Ring.
Okay, so let's start.
Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome. Welcome back to another edition of the Center Ring, aka TCR, aka your favorite esports podcast. Episode 339 coming to you live and or pre-recorded from an undisclosed location. The date is Wednesday, June 30th, 2021. The time 9:03 p.m. Central Time. Go ahead and follow us on Twitter at the Center Ring. Get to know all the up-to-date news and even join our Discord in the description. If you were, you would have known we did a little impromptu community night on Sunday. So, saw a few faces, played the new Valorant patch. Not to brag, but I won a 4v1 with just a sheriff. So either I'm going pro or the patch just agrees with me. But either way, it was a good times were had by all. My name is Tim. I will be your captain for this journey into esports, and alongside me, as always, is my best friend, my brown friend. It's Anuj. What's up?
What's up, dude? I'm doing good, but not as good as Jason Lake is probably doing today.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. We'll talk about it in e-news, but I thought he was with Cowboys, no?
I think as partners.
Partners?
Now,
But
they're all still working together though.
Okay.
It
All
doesn't
right.
change anything from that relationship standpoint.
Yeah, I figured you don't mess with Jerry Jones.
In the picture of the sale, all of them were together.
Oh, really? Okay, I did not see that.
Yeah.
Okay, well then if it had Jerry's stamp of approval, then it must be okay. Must be okay. Anuj, I know this might come as shock to some people, but you're not white. I know Anuj is a very common name. I think Wisconsin probably has a lot of Anujas, if I had to take a guess. But you are not white. I'm not going to lie, though. I have been in the pool 3 times in the last week. That is 3 times more than I've been outside shirtless, probably in like the last 3 years. If I was a new listener tuning into the show right now, looking at us side by side, I could not tell which one is the Indian and which one is the white guy.
That's such a lie. Do not believe him right now.
I have such a crisp tan. 3 days in the pool.
That light shining off of you lets us know the distinction between the two.
I'm looking at it right now, and if it weren't for my mouth moving, I wouldn't even know which one was me. It's incredible. It's incredible.
You do have that nice little redness going though.
Yeah, in my if I had my look, if I was a female streamer and I could get away without wearing half my clothes, I could show you my look. See that red on my shoulder?
Hey, does it hurt?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I got away with it.
That's good.
Got away with it. But no, summer is officially here now. Speaking of summer, next busy times. June is not a good month for us because Anuj decides to celebrate everything you could celebrate in the month of June. And then we also like have it kicked off in the first week of July being 4th of July. And this year it's on a Sunday. So we are recording, but it will be Monday. So yet again, we're going off script here. Just if you operate your week off of us, which God bless you if you do, because you should have learned by now. But no show on Sunday night. We will record Monday night because
the way life works right now, just know we're always doing our best to get you 2 shows a week. So if those days are sometimes off, hopefully it's not the end of the world for anybody. But we always do our best to at least try and get you 2 a week. And, it's just life, guys.
Yeah, the
we're
goal is at least 2 a week. So it's just a busy time at the moment. That's okay. But also, speaking of summer, Anuj, I know we typically talk about them at the end of the show for e-news, but I know not all of our listeners hang out all the way till e-news. So I just wanted to let people know who maybe not stick around all the time. But our friends over at Philly Esports, they are doing a summer series event that is kicking off July 10th. So that's the way it works. Okay, and this is huge. This has got to be their biggest event ever. $30,000 plus worth of prize money getting handed out here. I believe it's all free signups. So it's just like their normal thing. It's all online. All right, so it's like how we've always pitched it in the past, except for this time it's big money and big events. July 10th through the 18th, you will have a Call of Duty Cold War, 4v4 tournament. The first series, July 10th. Second series, July 18th, with the championship in July 31st. Okay, and that's how all of these work. In August, Rocket League 3v3 event. And in September, starting September 19th, Valorant 5v5. Each one of those have a respective 2 series apiece and their championship, all of which you can earn cold hard cash. We might actually be competing in the Valorant one too. It is.
I think we're gonna find a way to do that.
It's on the books right now. So
look, here's how I've planned out my life. We got WoW for the next couple of months until we get bored. I think we're getting to that point now. It feels like the ramp down is happening, but the new stuff is out, so we'll enjoy that for a moment. Then September, a little bit of a lull, and that's perfect for us to grind out. Tim and I don't need months of practice. We need hours. And then you throw us in, and we shine.
When you're naturally as gifted as we are, you really just kind of...
a blessing and a curse, And so I think we'll be competing in that event. We want to get 3 ringers on with us here, okay? So if you're interested in playing and you have the ability to carry, that is crucial. You need to be carry material. Might need it. Let us know.
It has to be a unique... You have to be ultra competitive and willing to carry, but also at the same time not really care.
And have a little bit of thick skin.
Yeah.
So we need that perfect mold right here.
I need Michael Jordan in his prime, but also Michael Jordan, like, the second he retired and went to go play baseball. Like that, I need his level of care about basketball at that very moment, but also the mindset of him in his prime. Because, we're not going to, we're not practicing. So
no,
we'll get on and play.
Fresh call-outs. I'll probably end up being IGL, and I'm going to say random shit that probably doesn't make sense. No. And we're just going to have to work
Our
together.
call-outs are left, right, up the middle. Okay? That's it, and it stops there. Don't be
A,
doing
B,
these.
and sometimes C.
Don't be doing these new age call outs where they're named after players and shit. No. Okay, we listen. We're doing basic stuff here, folks. So either way, though, if you want to be on the team, hit us up. In all seriousness, we typically do care come tournament time. So we will get on, we will play. We can even just play some unranked just to get used to each other, which is half the battle in these tournaments anyways. So but that's September. We got plenty of time. But right now, if you're a Call of Duty fan and you think you can go pro, Anuj, we constantly get asked this question to this day. How can I go pro? Can you hook me up with a team? Like, yeah, let me just do that. Because Mike for Envy will surely listen to me as I shoot him a text. Like, dude, one of our listeners wants to be on Envy. That's not how that works either. But this is how it works out. You sign up for these tournaments, Call of Duty Cold Wars, July 10th, July 18th, 4v4. Okay, this is not a Warzone tournament, folks. This is the actual multiplayer game. Remember, that does exist.
That's what the pros are playing right now.
Yep. Regrettably so, because I don't think they make nearly as much money as Warzone as it seems. But PhillyEsports.net, you go right there. It's right on their homepage. You can't miss it. A big, bright pink and blue summary logo. Click on that, and you can get all the details there. So I just wanted to give that there just for people who maybe don't make it all the way to e-news or anything like that. Just to highlight the severity of this summer series brought to you by Philly Esports and the U.S. Army. We also just interviewed Adam, who's been on the show before. He's always in our Discord as well, about kind of this series a little bit, but just in general, his career path with Philly Esports, the U.S. Army. Very entertaining, very interesting that he actually, video games brought him to the Army, right? So very interesting. You can go check that out. He put it up in our self-promo section in our Discord as well, and I'll post it tomorrow on Twitter as well. It's up on YouTube. So with that being said, Anuj, do you want to get into some Yikes of the Week?
Special edition.
Special edition. Just because it's not Monday or Sunday or whatever day we decide to record, we will always do Yikes of the Week. Let me get to mine because it's actually, I think, like a week or two old right now. I can't ever remember how we got our schedules mixed up. But this comes from our good friends at Overwatch. I'm a professional. I just thought of another Yikes of the Week right now reading this.
Is it a better one than what you're about to say?
I'm gonna say both.
Okay, go for it.
And it's also not a good sign when I say the words Overwatch out loud and a Yikes of the Week instantly pops into my head that I wasn't thinking about. That's not a good sign for your game. If I just think of your game and instantly be like, oh yeah, I forgot about this. This is stupid. It's not good. So the one that I just thought of before I forget, their home event. Dallas Fuel is hosting their first home event of the year in 2 years, right? Because of COVID. Now, Anuj, we said we will be there. That's before you and I looked at a calendar. We figured, it's a home event. Dallas is playing here. The team they're playing against will not be in Dallas, so it's like half a home game, right? However you want to see it. Well, Anuj, it's on a Friday, July 9th.
What time, Tim?
The event kicks off at 1 p.m. 1 p.m. on a Friday. Now, tip of the hat, it is completely sold out. So there's that. Like, I guess they won on that measure.
This is a Yikes for our own personal issue. Okay.
Well, yeah. This is a boomer gamer problem right now. Because the fact that it's Friday at 1 o'clock, like, I work, we can't go to that. So I know we told some people we are going to it, but no, it's a big yikes. Obviously, I don't think it was planned. I mean, obviously, it wasn't planned ahead of time that it was going to be a home series. So I'm sure the league just scheduled it, and then Dallas Fuel looked at a calendar and said, hey, let's do this one at home. You know, nothing's going on at Esports Stadium in Arlington anymore anyway, so they'll be happy to take us. And I'm sure they can bump a Rocket League or a Smash tournament. I think they can live with that. So obviously you just play with the cards you're dealt with, but yeah.
Like, it's still going to be a fun event.
It's still going to be fun. No, I wish I could go. I'm not saying I don't want to go. I'm just saying it upsets me that it's Friday at 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. No, PTO is not an option in that situation, unfortunately.
No.
Certain events I can check that PTO list for you, you know?
Yeah.
But
Especially like on a Friday, it's already full. Like people have asked this off miles ahead, so it is what it is. So if you are coming into town though for it and you want to hook up, you know, maybe we can squeeze out. Maybe we can go to Arlington for dinner or whatever. Who knows? Maybe you know what we'll do? We'll host our own private invite only party and just shoot
Very
us a
good.
text message and you can get invited.
Can't wait.
Shout out Courage. All right, so my actual yikes of the week.
You just mentioned 2 yikes basically right there.
Yeah, right there, pseudo yikes. Though making fun of Courage is not really much of a yikes nowadays. It's just a segment of the show. But yikes of the week, my actual yikes, Anuj. Still sticking with Overwatch. So in the most recent crossplay update, which isn't a yikes of itself, a crossplay in general, but a crossplay on Overwatch, I wouldn't even want to imagine the bloodbath that happens to console gamers against PC players.
I like crossplay in some situations. This is not a game I think that.
Nah, not in this one. I mean, they're completely different. They're completely different. And I think for a little bit, some of the patches were actually different on console and PC because they played so different. Like the meta is just completely different on console for obvious reasons. Like a Genji on console. Could you imagine playing Genji on a controller? Like,
You had to do the claw.
yeah, bro, you would need like 3 hands. Like, well, yeah, it's like that would be ridiculous. Anyways, but another thing they slid into this update, Anuj, was the fact that you can no longer choose what region your server is going to go into. So it will default to your closest server, but then for the sake of minimizing queue time, because, you know, everyone's been bitching about that since the dawn of adding queues, they have now changed it to where, hey, for the sake of filling in other rooms, you could just get shot into another server. So
Like, so I could be sitting here and playing in like a Russian server.
yeah, like EU, like, and I guess this is especially.
Do they know something that no other game does?
I
Like,
don't.
is there some secret here to where latency has really been this big myth this whole time? Like, they don't want cross-country friendship. Like, it's been to build rivalries only. Like,
I don't know.
what how is this going to work?
And from what I hear,
I see no way.
this is mainly affecting the EU players the most, though, because even though they would have like 100 ping, they would still play on NA servers just for the sake of speaking English. Like, just because they know they're going to get English. Because, you know, EU, that's always been, from what I hear, a nightmare playing in EU servers, is like, you could get Russian, you could get French, you could get people speaking Polish, or, you know, it's like...
Oh, it's not really broken up in the region. Though.
Exactly. It's not country-based, it's region-based, and their region is EU. So, you know, God forbid you live in East Europe and there's like 10 million countries and 10 different languages. You're like, oh, okay. So that's where, either way, though, in the year 2021, you're not going to let people pick what servers to play? Like, how dead is Overwatch where you have to do this?
I'll kind of wait to see how often this happens once it actually comes out. Like, is this really?
I mean,
like,
it's already out. Like,
or
people are saying it's annoying.
It's happening quite a bit right now.
Again, more so for like EU and Oceanic players. I don't think NA has been as big of an issue because we obviously have servers, you know.
Well, Tim, it doesn't affect NA.
Does it affect anyone at all? So, you know, look, no one wants Overwatch 2 to come out more than Overwatch players.
I mean, you would think they would feel the same way. Like the company, you know, like it's time.
Can I also just throw one more yikes on an Overwatch and make this a triple play?
Go for it. Quadruple.
Blizzard announced their summer sale right now in their store. Overwatch is still not free to play. Like, what are we doing here?
What does it cost?
I don't know. I can pull it up. But I'm still shocked. And I mean, I get it. You know, hey, you want to make $1, make $1. But even for, let's see how much Overwatch is. Even for the low price of $15, it's 25% off for Overwatch. If you get the Legendary Edition, which throws in some skins, it's $20. So even for the cheapest at $15, I don't know anyone that would get that right now. Like, first off, if you haven't played Overwatch, then I assume you already have it anyways. But still, even if you're like, you know what, I think I'm finally going to give this game a chance.
Like now is the time.
Yeah, like when they've announced Overwatch 2.
Mean, yeah, if they make it free to play, they also might be scared of if they have to show numbers that when it went free to play, they didn't get that many people still to like join it. Because again, like you said, at this point, if you haven't played Overwatch and you're a gamer, you're not going to it. I mean, it's been shitted on so much at this point, just by like even the mass media, right? Like it's talked down purely sometimes from a competitive standpoint, other times just game bashing, dev bashing, whatever. I mean, you're not going to it. So that would also might be a fear is, hey, if we go free to play, our numbers aren't going to just spike up like we've seen with some other games, right? When they go free to play, they get this massive boost, but you're not going to see like streamers all of a sudden be like, hey, let me go play this game for this free weekend or something to test it out. Like, it's just not happening.
No. So there's all my yikes of the week, all my impromptu yikes of the week.
I think that was like 4 if you count the pseudo yikes.
Yep. It was a busy week. That's what happens when you take a week off.
Busy week for Overwatch. Yeah, so my yikes is coming from CSGO, and this is coming out of the CIS region. Just to give a little backstory, Akuma was the organization that was accused of cheating by Navi, its head coach, player accusations of suspicious activity in the initial CIS RMR event. That's where Akuma upset a couple of teams, including Navi, in that event. ESIC at that point investigated Akuma and found suspicious findings, but didn't release it yet, including some stuff on their owner for match fixing. Okay, so there's all of that stuff that has taken place over the last few months since the first RMR event. Well, now the Star Ladder CIS RMR event is taking place, and Akuma's competing in it. They have an upcoming match against who is it? Nigma, I think. Whatever, doesn't matter. They have an upcoming match coming up in the CIS event, and 2 of their players have now been dropped from the team or made free agents, and they're essentially dropping out of the event. Obviously tough for Star Ladder, but more than anything, kind of odd, right? Like you're in the middle of a potential cheating scandal. You have 2 people drop out. Your team is essentially like dropping out of this event because there's nobody else listed on the roster on the player roster, so it's not like they can just bring in somebody to fill it in. So it almost feels like a confession without being one.
I was about to say.
I don't know. Like, I mean, that's just kind of how I feel.
Tell me you're a cheater without telling me you're a cheater, right? Like, if you
like, either ESIC has given them some sort of heads up, and it's like, hey, this is what we found, and these are the moves that they made because of it, or I mean, again, just really odd behavior to quit in the middle of an RMR event that you have gotten points from in the last one. Like you have a chance to represent your region. Like it feels like it speaks volumes. But again, we don't know the official reasoning yet. We just know that they're no longer on the team according to their social media sites over there.
This would probably be a good time for ESIC just to release some findings then. Like,
yeah, I mean, because I think Star Ladder now even has to figure out what to do, because that's also probably not something you prepare for, like a team dropping out. Like, what do you do?
Especially on that level. Like, this isn't Mountain Dew League. This is like they were
go to the major,
they were a professional team.
Yeah, no, odd situation. I'm hoping we do get more information soon, but either way, it looks bad. It looks like that org's potentially even going to be, in trouble again with the CEO allegation. So it'll be real interesting to see how this plays out and, how they kind of navigate through this for the RMR.
Very, very interesting. It's always odd, or it's always weird how, like, you'll get guys where it's like they can make it so far. Like, I consider that pretty far in the world of esports. Playing in an RMR event on the CIS side of things, I'd say that's pretty successful. You've seen some previous, shows of being in the public eye and stuff, but it always blows my mind.
You beat Navi. That's huge.
It blows my mind in situations like this in esports, where it's like we've talked about just how hard it is to get into the scene, any scene, and then for guys like this just to be like, like I think I'm done. I think I'm rage quitting. Could you imagine? Like, I debate if I want to be friends with someone if they rage quit like a pug match. You want to rage quit a pro match?
At that level, that's a whole different issue.
Like that is nuts. What is also nuts, Anuj, is the amount of roster moves that are happening in the Valorant world leading up to the third qualifiers for some regions here. So let's just do I say quick, but I don't even know if that's possible with the amount of things we have to discuss. ValoRANTing. So let's just get the big one. Let's start with the big one here. And this is maybe a part of it. Maybe the biggest player that moves over from CS. Maybe. We'll see. But NBK announces his retirement from competitive Counter-Strike and announces his move to Valorant. No signing. He's not doing no shadow signing, anything like that. He's even said, hey, I'm going to stream Valorant. He's been playing it more and more, but he just wants to practice at this point. Like, he wants to feel comfortable before just getting into the competitive side, which I think is, NBK has been around the block a few times. He knows how to do this, but
it's the Tarek approach.
Well, Tarek is still saying he's not thinking about doing it, right?
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll
see. That's all that dude plays on.
At least NBK is admitting, like, no, I'm gonna sign eventually. I just want to get used to it and comfortable before I sign. Tarek is like, no, guys. I'm just gonna stream here. Don't mind me.
I'm just gonna play it 24/7 with other pros, but
yeah,
not making the switch yet.
No, so NBK. I mean, obviously talking about his Counter-Strike career first. Maybe future Hall of Famer, TCR Hall of Fame. He definitely has the resume to at least be in the discussion.
Yeah, I mean, two-time major winner. Like, I mean, he's led several huge French campaigns. Like, there's been so many teams built with his leadership, and successful teams. Like, not all of these teams won majors, but like all of these teams were highly competitive teams, and just a legend in the game. Like, I actually think it'd be really hard to have a case against him to get in. Like, it would be a really tough sell for somebody to be like, oh, he's not in because of, like, yes, he's had failures, but when you've had the high successes that he's had, definitely worthy of every accolade that comes his way.
And I've made this argument a lot for CS players moving over to Valorant, especially ones with like history and a caliber like NBK. I mean, you could even argue like Skadoodle, those kind of more, I guess, quote unquote, veteran tier 1 Counter-Strike players, not necessarily just talking tier 2, right? But tier 1, where some people are saying like, oh, another washed up player, who cares that he's leaving? I don't know if washed up is the right word. Has he been on a lot of teams lately with some bad luck? Yeah, of course. But I think it also goes to show that, playing a game for as long as they do, 15 plus years, right? 20 plus years, depending on when they started playing Counter-Strike, eventually that's just going to catch up to you. Especially like a game like Counter-Strike that is loved and praised for the fact that it's been, for the most part, the same game for 20 plus years, right? So at the same time, though, it's like a double-edged sword where if you are playing it that long on a level that you're playing it like a pro, like 8+ hours a day, eventually that's going to catch up.
I do think he would have stayed had there been a good enough offer in CS, though.
But that's my point, though. That's why I'm saying he's not washed up. If a tier 1 team offered him a spot and he felt like it was a legit chance, I think he would have taken it as well. But for the longest time, he was just on a bunch of French experiment rosters.
Well, that's been the problem, right? Is like the French scene, as good as they are, their flaw is it's kind of been the same group of people since 2014 that are kind of getting churned around with some additional talent, like new talent like Zywoo and all that, right? But
right.
A lot of the mixes and matches that we've seen have been among around the same group. So I think there's also a little bit of an issue of options being available, just like that same issue is happening with NA talent and why we've seen so many NA players make that move. It's not that all of those guys were not good enough to play CS. It's just there's not enough opportunity for them to compete at CS in the highest level, right? There's only a handful of teams that are willing to shell out tier one type money or that have slots in these leagues, right? Like there's a dedicated number. So with NBK, I completely agree. This move, I think, is like nice for him to probably have a fresh start. Although I know um, it's also a move out of like it's probably what's best for the next step in his career. You know, if he goes into Valorant and does well, he can stay in that tier one scene for a very long time because the game is young and growing and there'll be more teams involved, just as we've seen already. The number of teams that are involved with Valorant is pretty crazy at a high level. Um, so I think this is, you know, great for him. I'm starting to become like a little less naive in thinking that every badass CS player that makes the move over to Valorant is going to naturally be good at Valorant. And I know we just talked about Tarek, for example, and like he plays a ton of Valorant and he's playing with really good people. And it's not like he's sitting there just carrying every pug that he's in. Does he have good games? Yeah. Does he have some bad games? Like, yeah, you know, so I'm curious to see um, as more people start to transfer over, like how many are given the benefit of the doubt and like how much is he going to have to prove before he, you know, makes his way onto a roster.
Yeah, and I think also that shows is that, especially if you look at guys like Drone or some of these other tier two CS guys that have moved over, and now you're seeing them, or even Overwatch, right? Even throw in the Overwatch players that are competing high now in Valorant, where I think it was like maybe we overvalued or overhyped the skill ceiling that tier one has, and we don't respect the team chemistry as much as we should, right? We think, oh man, look at Simple and his heads up play and everything, but then we forget guys like Simple is, one in a lifetime type of player that you get on your team. And then there's, for one Simple, there's 10 other dudes that you could probably rotate in and out, and given a good team chemistry or a good situation, could perform not equally as good as Simple, but have more value even as a tier one player. And so that being said, like to your point, they move over to Valorant. I don't know. You're comparing a guy who's won 2 majors in CS with a French team that was all-time great in the French scene, right? Can all of that be recreated in Valorant? I don't know, right? We haven't really seen like a French quote unquote scene right now in Valorant, which might work in his favor.
Yeah, I mean, English speaker, right? So it opens up several possibilities for him. It's not like he couldn't call out or play in English. So it's a little bit, you know, he'll have several opportunities. I
Right.
think even NA teams are going to come knocking on his door because part of this signing for him is also the name that he brings. So if you're going to gamble a little bit, like you're more willing to gamble with an NBK than, you know, a tier 2 or tier 3 player, obviously.
And one last note. His hype video of retiring from CS was better than like most orgs that pay probably way too much money for their content.
Yeah, his video is legit, and there'll be some like really cool frag videos. I'm sure that'll be made for him here pretty soon. And
Yeah.
his was
Like you can definitely
really
tell
good.
he's selling himself. He is on a
Yeah,
campaign right now to sign NBK, because you don't
enough
just
highlight plays. It's going to be easy for him to make
yeah
several little clips to send out
you
if
don't
he
make a
wanted to.
video like that and then just be like, guys, please no, don't call me. I'm just practicing right now. No. So I'm sure it's only sooner than later we see NBK signing, because especially if you want to get it all in time for qualifier 3 series at some point, that'll be sooner than later. Some other signings here. We have Bang signing with TSM. Thoughts?
Yeah, with Bang, is super like a young talent. Like he's proven his worth, and it kind of had to grow from the ground up. He's one of those that you wouldn't know from other titles. And I think the unique part here is like how quickly they were to let go of Brax, right? Um, they said they needed an aggressive player, and everybody's making shifts purely for the meta right now. It's like you're seeing it the meta is dictating a lot of these roster moves. It's not so much, hey, this player is not good. It's just this player does not fit the play style with what we have.
Mm-hmm.
And with Brax, they were saying he's more of like the bait play style. Don't look at that as a negative term. It's just like the way it's set up on the team. And they said we already have a lot of that. Like it wasn't going to work. So they bring in Bang, young, aggressive, you know, super energetic in the sense of how he plays. So it should be fun to see, but TSM just has a lot to prove, don't you think?
Oh, I think they have one of, if not the most pressure on them coming into these next group of qualifiers because they were so high. I mean, there was discussion of being number one in the world, right? At one point in time last event, I guess, last set of qualifiers. And, I think they're huge, right? Making some of the roster moves. Now and they've almost somewhat been a little forgotten in the discussion as far as like a top tier team in
Sure.
you
Don't
Valorant.
really hear them talked about really at all right now. Like it's been more so the discussion has been what changes are they going to do in order to get back to the top.
Yeah. So there's that. And on the flip side, as you said, Brax no longer on TSM. He is back with T1 and Dazed is out, which we somewhat predicted, I think, a couple episodes ago that we could see Dazed. Like, how long does he stay? Especially after, like, the rumors of him and Spider, having that little, I don't want to say, like, hate crime, but whatever it was, like, however you want to label it, seemed like he was harassing Spider a little bit, possibly. I don't know. But
it was enough.
It seemed like the writing on the wall.
Like, yeah, I mean, whatever that whole situation was, it was like enough for them to decide they wanted to make a move. They also made Spider inactive for that roster, so now they're running with. It's a really interesting lineup here because you do have Automatic, big name from Counter Strike. We haven't seen them play a ton, so I couldn't tell you that it's the move of a lifetime, but I can tell you I like the move just looking at it. They have Skadoodle still on the team, and Skadoodle's been playing the game for a while, so I think expectations are high for him to like really perform at a good level. Like he's quote unquote been a long tenured player in Valorant in the sense he's been focusing on the pro level since kind of day one. Now you add Brax back to the mix, and then you have Curry, who was a tier 2 Counter Strike pro, running as their IGL. Tim, we both have to support him. He's Indian, so that's huge. AKA the name Curry. Gotta love that. Love that he's playing to it.
Almost
exciting.
Racist, but it's okay.
What's up?
Almost racist, but it's okay.
Yeah, in a good way. Good racially.
Like I'm not gonna name myself Hot Dog or anything.
I can see you doing that.
Not a bad name.
Not a bad name.
Now that I say that out loud.
Not a terrible name, actually.
Not a bad name. Might have to switch to Hot Dog.
But nonetheless, I am intrigued. Like I said, I just kind of root for Brax because of what he's been through, but now it's also like one of those things that's also run itself dry in terms of a story.
See, that's where I'm at. Like, with Brax, I'm in a fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, ain't gonna fool me again type of thing. And I can't get into it again. Like, it's been so high. He was so hyped. He was the first quote unquote pro Valorant player. The first signing on a big pro team was Brax. The hype train was there. He got a lot of his old iBuyPower boys back on the roster, and they were kind of set up for success. Now, I did say with Dazed on the roster, they weren't going to get anywhere, which point in case turned out to be true. Now he's off the roster, so that's some glimmer of hope. I don't know where Brax was at. If I'm a T1 fan and you're looking for some type of like, hey, just convince me this is an okay move, the one thing that I like about bringing back Brax back in is the fact that they were even able to make fun of themselves in the announcement video about bringing him back, which makes me feel that both parties are on a good, like level-headed going into this.
Yeah, I mean, they have to acknowledge that because it's weird to see it happen. So like I think it's good that they acknowledged it, and I think they kind of had to.
Yeah.
I think Team One's biggest mistake, honestly, was releasing that first roster with Food and Crashies. They should have just made a move with like AZK at that point and brought an automatic. I think that would have been a really nasty lineup, but they've been through a couple of different transitions now. Now it's just time to perform because like what's left to do? You've replaced the core of your team at this point. Um, you got to step up. You got to do it, and that goes for Skadoodle just as much as it does for Brax. Like both of them have to kind of step up at this point.
Speaking of ahead of the next qualifying stage here, there's a little bit of a rumor going around that we might see an Old Man Gaming Club appearance with the possibility of Shroud, Dicey, Sean Garris, Nothing, and Sean BM competing.
Yeah, I mean that it would be fun to see. I know they were supposed to do one early on, and it didn't happen because of like a scheduling conflict with Shroud. It would be great for numbers. It would be fun to watch them compete. Expectations would not be high. If
No.
they make
Though
it,
there was that one time, remember, for Counter-Strike, that they were competing and actually realized, like, oh, we're actually doing pretty damn good, and then they disqualified themselves to stop knocking out teams that, like...
But that was also at their game.
Yeah, I know.
Like
I
that
know,
was
I
at
know.
Counter-Strike. But I remember that. They stopped because they're like, we don't want to take their spot.
Right, like, uh-oh,
And
we're too good. Let's back it
yeah.
up.
I don't see that being the case here, but it would be a ton of fun. And look, whatever you think of Shroud, like anything he touches is gold when it comes to FPS. And so you throw him in there with personalities like Sean Gares, Nothing, like you bring that summer squad back together. All the boys are going to be happy. Everybody's going to watch.
Now, with the next signing here, Nuge, I know you were kind of, your ears perked up when you originally saw it, and this gets us to our friends over in the Envy office, as they have benched Caboose, which already kind of raises the question marks, because I thought Caboose was actually one of their better players. Envy, first off, I'm kind of surprised Envy was even in a position to make a roster move. I thought they were doing fine. But maybe there's something more going on behind the scenes that we don't know about with Caboose.
It's a meta change move, is all it is.
I
Caboose is a Raze Phoenix player.
And I've talked about this before. And I call it like the VCT. I don't even know what I call it, but it's like the VCT meta change curse, right? It's the only, maybe not the only, but it's a big downside to this VCT qualifier tournament format that they have going on is teams have zero wiggle room as to figure things out. Like, you have a qualifier that you get like maybe a 1 or 2 losses, however they have it set up, a double elimination chances, and then you're out. You're out until the next one. And then if you're out for that one, then maybe you get a second chance or a third chance here and there, depending on how the format is. But it is like a do or die type of situation, and we've seen so many teams make roster moves, and you're like, but like, I mean, hell, look at the Brax TSM situation. He only played like what, 2 matches with them, 2 or 3 official matches.
Yeah, like not, and that's probably with very limited practice time too,
yeah,
like
but that's seriously like the window that these teams have to figure out their rosters. And then you're talking about the meta change. Meanwhile, after this set of qualifiers, we have KO just waiting outside, ready to walk on in, and there's already talks of him taking over Sova players. So it's just going to be nuts how we see these rosters shake up.
I don't like the thought of making moves for meta shifts, because I feel like meta shifts are going to be a constant, and that means expect every 3 months or so, when either a new character gets introduced, a new map gets introduced, a balance update happens. What are you going to do? You're just going to keep adjusting based on what's going on. Like, hey, smoke meta is not viable anymore, so now you don't need multiple smoke. I mean, like, there's just things that, like this move, picking up Marved and dropping Caboose. Marved is a good player. There's nothing against Marved. I think, yes, in terms of the meta, it'll probably work out maybe better for them in the short term. But I'm thinking long term, like Caboose has been a really high fragger for them on a team that really needed him to frag out to win. Like they needed good performances from him if they were going to win the game. And partially because, FNS is not a high quality fragger, but an amazing in-game leader, but you have to counter that somewhere. Like somebody else needs to be carrying that weight. And so changes like this make me a little nervous, but again, they're doing it for the meta, so maybe it's better and it's going to look better on paper over the coming like month, 2 months, 3 months. But as it continues to shift and characters and elements in the game start to change, like is it the best move? I really don't know. And so on the flip side, Marv leaves phased, and you have Baby J, who is now joining, and Baby J is also a new up and comer. So you're starting to see some of this new talent kind of get bred into the scene and get opportunities. So there are positives for people, Bang on TSM, Baby J going to phase. You're going to be seeing some of these new names pop up as we go, and that's pretty awesome. It's showing, it's working.
Yeah, I'm with you though on the meta change aspect of I feel like people get trapped in this mindset of, oh, he's a Sova main, he's a Phoenix main, blah blah blah. There's no Anuj. How in the world could a Phoenix main ever learn how to play KO? Right? Like, how in the world could a Phoenix main ever learn how to play Omen? Like, it's just not even possible. How could they ever learn how to do a smoke? All they're used to is putting up a firewall. I feel like that gets overhyped. I feel like
You're
people.
just not giving somebody the chance to learn. Like if you're expecting them to be instantly amazing at that character, seems like a problem with like you guys. Like it does take a moment. It's just nobody's willing to give that
No.
time to like, hey, he needs to like get better with this guy. So it might take him a few games and several practice sessions and time on his own, like
And
to master that character.
give me team chemistry. Oh, and familiarness over
Familiarity.
familiarity over someone that you think is comfortable with, Agent X or whoever, right?
Yeah.
Give me that, because again, we're talking pro players. This is their job. They already sit and play the game and consume the game 24/7. Like, there's never a time of day where I think a pro isn't at least thinking about the game. These guys could easily go and watch film, watch videos of other professional guys in that specific agent, and I have a feeling you give them like a week, they could get caught up to speed at least enough to compete. Now, some agents like Sova and the darts and everything, I could maybe understand that a little more,
I would
but
say like honestly a month, 2 months of grinding, and getting used to it in matches because you have to play with it outside of
I
just
mean, for them to
scrims.
feel, I'm talking about though, just in the sense of like, okay, you're comfortable with them enough to like, let's scrim with them now, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, they'll probably like know a lot of the lineups at that point, and um, but making some of those like cheeky plays and learning, the
Yeah,
ins and outs. Obviously, that's where I'm saying orgs are not willing to give time to a lot of these players to make an adjustment.
right.
Like you got to master that one guy, and you better be really good at him. But God forbid a meta shift happens, and now, hey, that one guy that we told you to be really good at, well, guess what? I'm sorry, he's no longer like viable. So we're gonna go grab somebody else that can play that position. So,
Yep. And again, that's
like I said,
partially just because of the nature of the VCT, right? It's just you don't
yeah,
have a month for them to get used to it because
and that'll all change. It just sucks it's just the way it is right now. And it's a good format right now for the viewer, like the
yeah,
audience, right? Like for us, it's great because all of these matches seem very meaningful. As an org, it's got to be super stressful because when you're out, and you're waiting a whole stage, and so much happens in between, and now it's going to land, so it's only getting bigger, and like, yeah, it sucks.
and it honestly feels, if your team isn't called Sentinels, everyone is looking at trying to make a roster move. Like,
Yeah,
I
because
feel like it's honestly Sentinels is the only one that feels like, okay, we're good.
yeah, I mean everyone's gonna play catch up, right? So everybody else knows that they are the best. Like it's quite obvious that they're a tier above everyone. And so I think teams that were thinking that they were really good are also looking at it like, well, even on a really good day, it's going to be hard to beat them on a best of 5, right? So what can we do? What are they doing? Um, you know what they're doing? They're substituting Sinatra for tens. Like they went from one great player to the best player in the world. Like it's hard. It's hard. It's hard to replicate.
And then you have Evil Geniuses, for all intents and purposes, blowing up their roster, as Potter and Temperature are the only two remaining members of the original squad. Which,
And they got smacked, I think, today too, or yesterday or something like that. Like lost pretty handily.
yeah, I
You
don't.
know,
What
so
I was gonna say on that one is I don't know. I don't know how confident I felt with their original roster to begin with, but I don't know how confident I feel about this one either.
yeah, like Roka is like a good fragger, but hasn't really translated as well from Counter Strike to this. Potter has had her struggles, and it just hasn't it hasn't been great in terms
This
of
is my
fragging.
problem with Potter. I feel like she is getting pulled in too many different directions to also then be an IGL for a top tier org, not a team, because they're not top tier team at the moment. But Evil Genius is a top tier org. They don't go into an esports just to have fun and kind of be top 20, right? I don't think that's why they're here in Valorant. Given that their first roster, and yes, it's a mixed gender roster, which I know at the moment seems kind of experimental, right? We just don't see it enough. But I don't think that has anything to do with them just wanting to come in and do that. But Potter, I think she's good, and she's a very good IGL. She's very knowledgeable. But I just feel like, you see her doing content and working the broadcast booth, and she's an analyst. And I don't know. Maybe I'm being too old man about this, but I want my
Yeah, I mean,
IGL to
maybe
be
like this
IGL.
like in terms of what she does on the other stuff. If she can manage the time, great. My issue has just been the performance in the games, right? Like, she needs to, just like anybody else, like Roka. Roka had one of the worst games I've seen him play here recently. Like, all of these players on this team feel like they have something to prove, where it doesn't feel like they have that one go-to star at the moment. And so they're gonna have to do what you talked about. Like, they're gonna have to build chemistry, and it's gonna have to take some time. You don't swap out three players and also get instant success. But I don't know what the ceiling is for this team, but based on like recent results, prior results, what we're seeing, I don't know how much better it's necessarily going to get. But again, they've done a three-player swap now, so this is also, I feel like, one of those do or die situations. Like, either this roster works out, or you kind of start from scratch again. There's just not many more roster moves you can do unless you're willing to cut Potter, or um, Temperature is the only other remaining player. Like, there's only so many names left.
Getting over to the EU side of things, we have Draken is returning to Guild Esports after just 2 weeks after they am announcing that he's no longer on the roster. So I don't know what I mean. That's the quickest turnaround time for getting rehired again. So I guess congratulations to him. Which,
Like,
first off, I didn't like the fact that he was dropped to begin with. So I love this pickup.
I almost feel like they were listening to our inner thoughts of don't drop for meta. And they were like, you know what, shit. Like, we just let a really good player go, and we did this because we thought it would fit the meta better, but he was also our best player. Why did we do that? So let's go back and grab him.
No,
They
see what it
make the
was is they
Brax.
actually looked at their revenue reports and said it's going to cost more to hire and bring on a player. Employee on setting is always more expensive than just keeping one, Anuj.
Yeah, on onboarding somebody.
Yeah,
It
onboarding
is.
is always more expensive. Just keep them on.
This was good, I think, to bring him back. I like the move. And I like what they're doing over there at Guild. Like, I think that they're building a good team. So I didn't like the fact that they dropped him to begin with. So I'm okay with them maybe admitting their mistake and swapping him back in. You also got to think, you got to find somebody better than him. Like, what's the point of dropping him if you're gonna pick up somebody like, oh yeah, this guy can play Omen, but guess what, he sucks. Like, that's not gonna do you any good. So
Do you
take the
think
talent.
Guild benches him after 2 weeks of not finding anyone, re-signs him, and then all of a sudden NBK says he's coming to it, and they're like, God damn it! Hey Draken,
Sorry, bud.
can you come see me in my office?
That would be an interesting team to throw him onto, though, if they can find a way to put him on there.
It's possible. It's possible. And then G2 bench Pith for, how do you say that guy's name?
We'll just say Kellogg's.
Kellogg's. That's okay. Good enough for me. Good enough for me. So we'll see. I'm always interested with any G2 roster because my brain still tells me that they're like really good on the EU side and number one and all that. But then you look and, I don't pay attention to EU as heavily as I do the NA side, obviously. So when I see this kind of update happen, I'm always jarred a little bit.
Yeah, I mean they've done a complete roster overhaul except for Mixwell now. Like everybody has gone from that initial dominant 9 streak tournament winning team, like except for Mixwell. So I think Mixwell's even changed roles, so they're all going to be essentially doing something new at this point. I like how aggressive that org is to go pull in the players that they saw to be the best. Like they got him from Ascend, they got him from Heretics, and now you see Heretics got knocked out of the VCT qualifiers today or yesterday. So they're willing to go spend and to go grab the best. I don't know if what they did or what they left back initially they'll regret because that team was so good, and it's like they just felt. I've never seen a team fall off that fast that was that good for as long as they were in Valorant's lifespan. Like that was kind of incredible. It went from like 100 to 0 real quick. So it's a reset button, but all of these players have a top tier experience and are very good. So I think they'll be a good team still. And I continue to believe in Mixwell. Like I think his leadership will help this team kind of get together, grow together, and we'll see.
So as far as stage or whatever they're calling it, the qualifiers for stage 3, challengers 1, B, A, C, you could give me all my lifetime to figure out how they categorize their stuff. I'll never do it. I will never do it.
NA starts tomorrow. So, or for y'all listening today, but it starts on the 1st. You already have EU, BR, CIS, like all of those regions have already kicked off. Basically, these are all going to be ending on the 10th and the 11th for your major regions. A couple of other regions will linger past that, but for all the major regions, they're basically live now or starting tomorrow and going till the 10th and 11th.
And that's open qualifiers.
Open qualifiers, yeah. But you're still going to see all the, I believe in.
Well, this is where the fun can start, right? Because this is where TSM or someone can blow it, and all of a sudden their chances are cut. And that's what I'm saying. That's why these roster moves have such a small window, right? Because you think, okay, well, let's see what happens when they get to the big dogs. Well, I mean, they got to get through an open qualifier first. And that's got to be even scarier for a lot of these guys because that's the unknown, right? You have more pressure if you're TSM in these.
If you're T1 and you're looking at the bracket right now, are you scared that your second round match could be against Akuma Esports?
No, they might quit halfway through. just take them out.
Turn on the cheats halfway through.
Just take them out the first time. So, all right. So there you have it. A lot of Valorant news to get to. And open qualifiers start tomorrow, or if you're probably listening, like Anuj said, today. All right, let's get into some e-news. Again, e-news is always brought to you by Philly Esports. As we mentioned at the start of the show, PhillyEsports.net, their summer series is kicking off in just a couple of weeks, July 10th and July 18th. They are hosting a Call of Duty Cold War 4v4 tournament, Search and Destroy, Hardpoint, Control, Best of 5. Go ahead and sign up. Sign-ups are free, sponsored by the U.S. Army. A span of all of these summer series, $30,000 cash prizes. So get your boys together and sign up, PhillyEsports.net. So E-News had another Counter-Strike pro retire today. Not necessarily announcing he's going to Valorant, though, but he is stepping down from Counter-Strike. Kirby retires from competitive CS.
Yeah, crazy. I mean, he's so young, and he just said he kind of lost the passion or the fire to compete, at least in Counter-Strike for now. And you don't see that happen often, but he's also taken a beating, kind of in a lot of different aspects. Right, initially his move from Astralis, and then the team on North not being nearly as good as they were, predicted to be. So burnt out could be for playing as well as personal, and so wish him all the best. Maybe we do see him again. Like I said, a super youngest MVP ever in a major for Counter Strike, and was there for the start of that Astralis dynasty that they helped create. So yeah, wish him all the best.
Yeah, a lot of expectations early on in his career, and I think he's only how old? 23. Yeah, so super young.
Super young.
So with that being said, folks, remember, we all know what retire means in esports. This could be like, I just need a 6-month break and I'll be right back. So we'll see. Now that this is more or less just official free agency for a considerable future, we'll see what happens next. But for now, retired CS, Valorant to be decided. Leadify is how I'm going to say this, but some good dudes over there as they decided to sponsor Bad News Bears throughout the RMR event season. So we always, we like to kick Bad News Bears in the shin just because of NACS. But overall, this is actually pretty cool, right? An orgless team who, look, if you're an orgless team in NA, that's a thankless job at the moment. I just don't think a lot of big orgs are looking to sign squads in NA Counter-Strike. That's just the reality of the situation. But good to see an unorg team get some sponsorship.
Yeah, no, I mean, we've been talking, this team has been deserving of like a banner for them for quite some time. Like, didn't have to be top tier, but they deserved something. And so I'm glad to see that happened for them, and they get to continue their journey in Counter-Strike, and it's just good. We needed one of these feel goods to happen in NACS. It's been a while.
Moses, former coach of Team Liquid, and Sadakis, former caster who said some words, are back together casting for Star Ladder. So you've probably already seen some of their matches. So it's good to see both of them back in the saddle. We'll see how long it lasts.
Like, both of them were badass, so it's good that they're back in Counter-Strike, regardless of what you think of either of them. They were really, really good at what they did. So excited to have both of them back.
In Call of Duty news, continuation on Hook's drama. It's come out that Crim6 Anuj has sent not one, but 2 cease and desist notices to Hook on his YouTube video, as well has also announced that he has a video of himself coming out to explain a few things, but I think right now is waiting to release it with legal action and all that.
Crim6's name wasn't mentioned directly in the video. Like, is this just referring to the part of him saying he went to his teammates and they kind of encouraged him to continue to do Adderall to play?
At this point, I can't tell when Crim6 is just trolling and not, to be honest with you. Like, this could be like...
Again, he just wasn't mentioned directly, so I'm a little confused as to...
This could just be a giant troll. I have no idea.
I guess we'll see. It's interesting. We'll see if his video comes out, and that'll probably help clear things up, at least in terms of his side of the story.
In other FPS news, Team Fortress 2 has broke their all-time concurrent player count according to Steam. Sort of. We've done a research project on our Discord. 151,253 players were on this past Friday after a recent update adding a few new items and chests. Now, on Discord, I was talking to listener Canada, a loyal ringer, S Canada on our Discord, and I said, that seems awfully low for Team Fortress 2, does it not? And so we got a little research going. So official Steam numbers, first off, did not come out until some date. I don't have the information in front of me because I'm not prepared. But just know that when they officially kept count, I think it was like 2012. Team Fortress came out in 2007, and it didn't go free to play in 2011. So they weren't even keeping player counts until like well past the heyday of Team Fortress 2.
Just Steam player counts, though, in terms of...
Yeah.
Steam, yeah. So.
Yeah. But still, I was like, there's no way that's the top Team Fortress has ever been. I mean, it used to be wildly popular back in the day. So, but either way, you know what? It's good to see that Team Fortress 2 can at least, I mean, obviously still has a player base. Rainbow Six Siege has had better days, as it's been revealed that there's been a silent C4 and grenade bug that's been going around, not only on the casual scene in Nuge, but the pro scene. Pros have been using this bug, and after doing some research, it's been found out that it's been around for 4 years, at least 4 years, where C4s and grenades, you just don't hear them. And to make matters worse, it has been reported to Ubisoft. Yikes.
Like, how does? Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if it had been reported, I'm surprised the players just didn't make it a fuss about it on like social media, because then it gets a whole different level of attention.
Well, because if the players are using it, right? Who knows?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, was it just like a one-off report that maybe one person reported a couple years ago?
Yeah, or it's like on what level, right? Like, when you say pros, are you meaning like just people in tournaments or pros? It's way different.
It is crazy to think that a big bug like that would feels like a game-breaking, not a game-breaking, but
I mean, if you can repeat
tactical is like kind of a big deal, you know?
To not hear grenades in Rainbow Six, kind of a big deal.
Yeah, like kind of a big deal.
Riot's League of Legends esports manager has gotten the green light in China for their mobile version of the game. Have you ever played any of like the football manager type games? You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't have time for that shit.
There was one point in my life when I was working in sports radio and I felt like I was a very big sports nerd and thought I would enjoy it. So I bought like the soccer manager. I think I have like 12 minutes worth of game time on it. I can go look.
I know I have downloaded one before.
Yeah. I bought it on sale for like $5, so I don't feel bad about it. But I opened it up, started a team. I was like, oh yeah, I'll do Everton, and I was like, yeah, this is.
I like, if I'm gonna do something similar to that, it would be like a franchise mode in a game where I'm actually playing.
Ooh, yeah, it was a lot. It's not for everyone. That is for sure. That is for sure. And in other news, bringing it back to the very start of the show in professional fashion, Game Square has acquired Complexity, meaning Jason Lake will maintain his role as CEO for Complexity, also while being in a position for global head of esports for Game Square. What is Game Square?
Like the Code Red group and
okay.
They'll handle like, I think, marketing, media events, like stuff like that for them.
They will also be publicly traded for those interested.
Yeah, so that 27 million is in like share transactions. It wasn't like a cash settlement buyout. So and Jason Lake will now be the global head of esports, I believe, for them. So he'll also he'll retain his CEO title. So not only did he get a really nice payday, but he's also getting a salary. So double win. So congrats to those guys. We'll see how it changes as a viewer. I don't think you will necessarily notice anything other than maybe them entering more titles or trying to get like a league spot with additional funding or something like that. But because they're not in any of the leagues, I don't believe.
They were in.
They don't hold a CDL
Flash.
spot.
They were in Flashpoint, but obviously.
Okay, let's not count.
I don't know if that counts anymore.
But
don't
like
know.
they don't have CDL, Overwatch, or in Overwatch, take that as good or bad, or a league slot. So that probably valuation wise would make you a lot less valuable than maybe like what an Optic or some of these other guys were worth at the time.
Yeah, so it's funny too, because I was just talking to you. I'm like, man, I haven't heard a lot from Jason Lake lately. Now we know why. He's been busy cashing checks. So don't blame him. Don't blame him at all. Perfect. Well, there you have it. There is episode 339 of the Center Ring, aka TCR, aka your favorite esports podcast presented by Alt. Go to altesports.com, pick yourself up some merch. Go to phillyesports.com and sign up for their summer series. Go pro. It's just that easy. phillyesports.net. I think I said .com. PhillyEsports.net. Go ahead and sign up. Well, that'll do it for us. We will be back July 5th. So everyone have a very safe July 4th holiday. Be careful with those fireworks. Don't blow off any hands.
Jason Pierre-Paul incidences, please.
No, you need those to play video games. We will be back, though, so enjoy the weekend. We'll be back Monday night. Hit us up in Discord if you see us, want to play anything. We're all on WoW 9.1 right now, playing a little bit of Valorant here and there, so hit us up. We're always down to play. Follow us on Twitter at The Center Ring. The Discord is in the description there. So until next time, for Nuge, I'm Tim. We'll see ya. Perfect. 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 Perfect.
Unfiltered posted something that was kind of cool the other day, and it was, what was it? Talking about the cloud gaming services that Xbox threw out there. Did you see that by chance?
No.
You can basically play any of Xbox's games right in your browser.
Oh, yeah. I saw that.
Which for theirs is pretty cool because of the number of games. Like he was playing Halo. He posted a video of him playing Halo in his browser. And I was like, damn, that's like, like to not have to open up a game. Like if you're just sitting there doing something and you can switch back and forth from your browser tab and it pauses it, and
I'm
you just
telling you,
kinda
dude, it's uneven. Imagine when you're back at work or, at a hotel or whatever. Like if it's all
Yeah.
just based off of internet or something like that. Xbox is doing it right when it comes to just like the Game Pass and it being available on everything. It's like, oh, you own an Xbox, PC, whatever, TV. You can play it on your TV. It doesn't matter. They're definitely doing it right.
I think they focused on the right area for them to be hyper competitive in this run of console wars.
Yeah. You know what's funny too, and I would love to like talk to someone at Microsoft behind the scenes or later in life read a book, because I recently just read Ride of a Lifetime. Robert Iger, former CEO of Disney. Awesome book if you want to read it. But he talks about how when they were like acquiring like Star Wars and Lucasfilms and Marvel and all of this was with always in the mindset of like when they acquired Fox, because they knew they wanted to do a streaming platform and Fox had a lot of like infrastructure ready to do that, right? And like without getting it, they wouldn't be able to do like their streaming service. Like it just wouldn't have been the same, like Disney Plus.
Wouldn't have happened.
And I wonder if Xbox feels the same with like Bethesda, because it's huge that they can put every single Bethesda game on their streaming services.
Really big. I mean, it just brings in such a big audience, especially if they're like going to be releasing some titles soon. Which Starfield is probably the closest one. Doesn't sound like Elder Scroll is close, and I don't even know if they're doing another Skyrim or anything like that. But they have the ability to generate a lot of income from them if they can get them to pump out games at a reasonable pace.
Yeah. So that to me is just
My lovely wife just came home with
massive
my
effort.
dinner from
dinner,
herself. I know, super late today.
bro. It's kind of normal time for us. We eat
This is like
when the kids go to
I
sleep.
ate a little bit when Hudson ate, but we had somebody coming over, so I was cleaning, so I didn't really
Right.
I just kind of like was snacking, and then they came over, then I hopped online, and now I'm starving. And she's like, I want to go grab something. She's like, I didn't really eat dinner either.
No, we eat. It's probably terrible for like our sleeping habits because we eat so late and then go to bed. But it is what it is.
Yeah, it's so funny. We're old farts. We probably eat dinner every day between 5:30 and 6.
Yeah.
Like super, super early. Because it's just like I don't want to eat again when Hudson is like eating and he's eating the same thing we're eating, so it has to be ready. So I'm
Right.
like, well, might as well just adjust our time too. We didn't used to eat late before him though. I'd say we ate between like 6:30 and 7. and now we
That's
eat.
that was kind of our normal time, and now it's just it really just depends on how Shepard's doing. Like if he's well behaved and we can eat while he eats and not worry that all of it's gonna end up on the floor, then okay. If not, then it's kind of eating shifts. I'll eat, Morgan will eat. It's madhouse. But all right.
I might be back 50-50.
All right, I'm gonna kill the
I don't even
stream.
really have anything to fucking do.
Everyone in chat, love your face. We'll see you.
Love you
Have a
guys.
good weekend. Have a safe 4th.
Yes, everybody enjoy.
Later.